I first want to welcome former Congressman Joe DioGuardi and his most able and lovely wife, Shirley Cloyes, and the board members of the Albanian American Civic League. I also want to welcome the witnesses who traveled here from many places, including Montenegro. As you know, we had a remarkably interesting and informative and valuable trip to Montenegro 3 months ago, and it made a very deep impression on all of us who were part of this delegation. I want to thank Joe and Shirley for their dedication to human rights issues, particularly of Albanians in Kosovo and throughout the Balkans, and for their work with the Albanian American Civic League. I traveled to Montenegro 3 months ago and viewed the very troubling issues of inequality as it relates to the ethnic Albanian population of that country. The Albanian population in Montenegro today is half of what it was at the end of the Second World War. And there is very little attention paid to the Albanian people in Montenegro. Today we will hear from a number of expert witnesses who live in Montenegro, have traveled there extensively and studied the conditions. It was a great pleasure for me to meet a very wide range of Albanians living in Montenegro. I found them to be intelligent, competent, capable, and in no way deserving the second-class status which the government is inflicting upon them. Before we call our first witness, Dr. Neil Draga, I would like to call on my friend and colleague who will take this microphone and express whatever views he has concerning this subject and the subject of the Albanian population throughout the region. Congressman Rohrabacher.
Let's note, this is real democracy. You got a liberal Democrat over there and conservative Republican over here, and if there's one great thing about America, it's that we come from different mindsets, and we come from different ethnic backgrounds, and we come from different races, and we come from different religions. What ties us together is a commitment to liberty and justice for all. That's what we pledge every time we pledge to the flag. You know, we don't pledge to somebody's religion or somebody's ethnic background, and we Americans have a special role to play in the world because of that. And our special role is to make sure that we are the champions of liberty and justice for all. In the Balkans, we've not always stepped up to the plate, and every time we haven't, it's done damage to us. And in fact, throughout our history, whenever we don't stand up for the democratic and freedom and those fundamental beliefs of treating people with decency, and we always end up losing because of it. Well, today we have to make sure that we don't lose sight of these, because America has been lulled asleep again. Here we were 10 years ago in the middle of a crisis in the Balkans, and all of a sudden people paying attention. Now, people aren't paying attention again, and things are slipping in the wrong direction, and we need to go back to fundamentals. America believes that if the people of Kosovo want, by such a large majority, to become a state, they should be a state, because they have a right through self-determination to become a state. If the Serbs in Serbia get the idea that they have a right to rule Kosovo, there's going to be problems for everyone, including the United States. Well, we must watch out for the human rights of the Serbs in Kosovo, and we must recognize the rights of the vast majority of people of Kosovo to run their country. The same as with Montenegro. We must watch out for the rights, for the human rights of the people who are a minority there, the Albanian people. They have their rights, even though the majority has rights in Montenegro. This idea of watching out for human rights and respecting the rights of people to have their own country, it's the same thing on both sides of the coin. And we need to make sure, and today we're talking about something that, again, Americans aren't seeing because we're lulled to sleep, thinking everything's okay. Well, everything's not okay. Obviously, there's some problems with the way, number one, the Serbs think they're going to take over Kosovo again, and number two, the way the Albanian minority is being mistreated, or the way they are being treated, I should say, in Montenegro. And I don't know anything firsthand, and I'm very anxious to hear some of the firsthand testimony of what's that about. And our allies, Mr. Chairman, just as we are allies in the Congress, America's allies are those people who accept those principles. You may not be American citizens, but anyone who believes in liberty and justice for all is our ally. And that's what this is about. So, looking forward to the testimony. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for Joe and Shirley for all the hard work that they've done to make sure that guys like me who are very busy get our attention directed to important things. And you know, we're so busy without Joe and Shirley, we'd miss some very important things. We appreciate their hard work. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Congressman Rohrabacher, for those very deep and analytical and moving words. We're very grateful for your presence. Our first witness will be Dr. Nail Draga, who is an author, an educator, and former president of the Association of Artists and Intellectuals in Ulkin. My wife Annette and I were particularly impressed with him when we met him in August, and let me recognize with great pleasure that my wife has just entered the room, so I want to welcome my wife, whom I don't see enough of. We were particularly impressed by him in August, and we were extremely distressed to learn that he lost his job as a principal when the Montenegrin government decided to replace him with one of the ruling party royalists. I think to take an eminently qualified Albanian individual and replace him for ethnic reasons and political reasons is a very disturbing phenomenon to all of us.
Sipas zgjedhjes gjashave, personaliteti im ka qenë edhe pengesë me siguri për pushtetin.
I believe that the firing of Albanians is a process that continues today, but my case was probably because of my other involvements in human rights, etc.
I guess what I'm getting at, should there be alarm bells going off because the situation is getting worse, or has the situation always been this bad?
Jo, fatkeqësisht është ky opinion tash merr informacion të drejtë për drejtë për pozitën dhe statusin shqiptar në Malzi. Në një farë mënyrë pothuaj gjithmonë ka qenë këtë nivel.
Unfortunately, this is only the first time that the opinion in here is faced with what's really going on in Montenegro. Hard for the Albanians in Montenegro to be citizens of that country and at the same time to maintain their national identity.
Andaj nga kjo pozitë e pavarishme dhe ndjekjet që i ka bërë policia, një numër i madh shqiptarëve kanë emigruar në botën jashtë, ku një pjesë prej tyre janë edhe këtu.
And that is one of the reasons that made a lot of Albanians from Montenegro leave and immigrate to foreign countries.